It really doesn't affect me.
Okay.
So this stuff is I mean, the district has to do it. They can't get away from doing it. So, what can you say? Anyway, anything else?
No, I mean, it's been a long week of discussion with that, and just wondering if, if you come to any grand conclusions about anything, or
Well, the big
any
difference,
clearer understanding of anything. So.
but the big difference between the Board of Education meeting on Monday and the discussions at South Orange Middle and St. Boyden is that parents can opt their kids out of the test without any consequences. Because at the Board of Education discussion, the principal had said in her presentation that you can't opt out of the test based on the PowerPoint presentation that they had put up. But now they're saying, yes, you can opt out of the test, and the school district will provide classrooms or whatever for those kids who opt out of the test. Because if those kids opt out of the test, they would have been kept home, and that means to say their parents would have to take off from work in order to be with their kids. So that's not the case based on what I think it's Susan Grayson, who is the assistant superintendent. Mm-hmm. She said that based on she said that at both meetings. That, and then she read the preamble, that we had talked about. So I think the school district is really trying its best to alleviate the fears of parents, in order for them to do the right thing, which as far as they're concerned is for them to take the test rather than opt out. So, it's just, I don't have a dog in that fight, so. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, here's this op-ed piece from your friend and my friend, Mr. Walter Fields. You want to call Walter? We could call Walter in here,
Well, I mean, I think, call him just off the hook whether he's there or not.
Yeah, you can just call him, see if he's there. If he takes it, he takes it. If the radio station do that all the time. You never listen to Steve Harvey with that guy,
I try not to, but...
What's his name? The funny guy?
Well, I mean, I've heard people make prank calls.
Yeah, they make prank calls. But this is not a prank call. This is a call just to,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you wanna read his op-ed piece?
I'm having a hard time navigating the site.
The Village Green?
Yeah, I'm on Village Green. I'm on Maplewood. There's just so many different places to go here.
Well, we just you got to go down for the
and kids, perhaps. I don't know.
Say that again.
I go to Village Green. If I click on schools and kids, I doubt if it's in there. I see the transparency on the Board of Ed ways options.
Well, let me read it. Dear Mr. Eastman, the following letter was sent to the South Orange Maple Board of Education President Wayne Eastman by Walter Fields of the South Orange Maple Parents of Students of African Descent Workshop. It is published here at Mr. Fields' request. Dear Mr. Eastman, I'm writing to express my grave concern over the continuation of practices by the South Orange Maple School District that are contrary to the spirit and intent of the resolution agreement the district signed with the United States Department of Education Office for Civil Rights. As has been established by OCR, the Soma School District had maintained racial disparities in student access to advanced placement courses that run afoul of provisions in federal civil rights law, namely Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This pattern of exclusionary practices in the South Orange Maple School District has persisted for well over a decade and were egregious enough for the district to be targeted by the OCR in an initial investigation of a cohort of school districts across the nation that have been cited for maintaining segregated environments within their school building. Secretary of Education Arne Duncan has been explicit in defining these practices as betraying the historic Brown vs. Board education ruling by the United States Supreme Court. The districts continue to use qualifying tests and the subjective recommendation of the teachers to determine which students will be allowed to enroll in AP classes. These practices are continued, though the board is well aware of the racial complexion of these classes. Such devices are akin to deliberate impediments, such as literacy tests and poll tax, that were employed by Southern states to deny black citizens their constitutional right to vote during the Jim Crow era. Similar to the disenfranchised black citizens being denied their constitutional right, the black students in our district are being purposely obstructed from their right to fulfill access to the district curriculum and denied their state constitutional right to a thorough and efficient education. You are also offending our right as taxpayers by using our tax dollars to offer classes that you then deny our children access by placing barriers to their enrollment. I mean, I don't want to read the whole thing, but it's quite extensive. Let me just say this. Furthermore, the administration staff and at least half of the present Board of Education has been in place during the period in which these racial disparities widened. Members were well aware of the harmful impact of policy choices that were made, the tracking of students that resulted in segregated classes, the discretion given department chairs to place students in advanced level courses, the lack of support given black students in Columbia High School to enroll in advanced placement courses, and the use of qualifying criteria for AP access that whitewashed these classes in high school where black students are now the majority. And members have been privy to the data that made plain the district failure in this regard. This happened on the watch of present members and staff, and all of you ultimately bear responsibility to repair the damage inflicted by decisions, choices that were made under your authority. Our focus now turns to accountability and holding each of you responsible for the conditions on which black students are disproportionately excluded from opportunities in the South Orange Mayport School District. We have always given the district the benefit of the doubt, hoping against evidence that the mangled outcome of black students' achievement were the unintended consequences of bad policy. However, in public comments, in management decisions, and in policy, intent is becoming evident. Likewise, we have also grown exhausted by the district response that these things take time to fix. No, they take the will and courage. This district has had sufficient time to address these matters. It's now time for actions. The concessions we have granted in the past can no longer be offered this district. Do not misinterpret our willingness to work with this district, as we have exhibited in many ways as an indication of our hesitancy or our lack of will to use every conceivable legal avenue to end discriminatory practice and bring this district in compliance with civil rights law. We remain supportive of the South Orange Mayport School District, but principally committed to the educational success and futures of black children in our two communities. Sincerely, Walter Fields, convener, Soma Black Parents Workshop. This letter was amended to remove personal references and conversations.
You know, at the board meeting, he mentions also in this letter, people concern over the mathematics program, and at the board meeting, more than a number of people spoke. Parents specifically spoke about their concerns over the way mathematics is taught or the progression of math. I just want to read this one paragraph he put in here. I also share the concern that many other parents have raised over the state of mathematics instruction in our district. Though my focus remains on racial disparities in student access and achievement, and let me be clear, I perceive the issues in mathematics to stem from leadership failure. The board has allowed the department to be managed in a way that has suppressed black student engagement in the most challenging mathematics courses, the very course progression that colleges deem most desirable for students seeking admission, and the very same classes are now designated as evidence of college readiness. By allowing the department to create an illusion of rigor by the use of exclusionary practices that discourage black parents or black student enrollment. This discourages their pursuit of advanced level classes and weeds out capable black students, and then artificially inflates AP exam pass rates. This district is complicit in the discriminatory treatment of black students. It seems like everybody is angry with the math department. He goes on to say that we don't have a rigorous mathematics experience in our district. What we have is mathematics instruction on steroids, made artificially restrictive by the use of over-testing, inadequate support, and a homework tsunami that betrays student preparedness. This environment persists due to the board's surrender of policy authority to a department chair. He mentions also everything that the same. This is quite evident in the department's policy of not returning completed quizzes and tests to students. It is an asinine policy that works against student progress. It's clear to me that the department is functioning to serve a narrow band of students, very capable students who would excel in any environment, but whose performance allows the department to claim success. All other students, many of them capable of excelling, are subjected to sink-or-swim attitude conveyed by the departmental leadership. When the department chair reveals to me that her goal is to emulate Melbourne and Livingston school districts, two districts demographically dissimilar to South Orange Maplewood, as night is today, it reveals a real bias or a painful ignorance. I could see the counter argument to that.
What counter argument is that?
Well, I don't know. I can't see the counter argument to not returning test grades to students.
You can see.
No, I can't see that. That's something that's almost impossible to understand.
Okay.
To me, when people don't return tests, it's either they didn't grade them, or they just collected them.
No.
Oh, people do that. I know another teacher. I mean, it's not like he doesn't grade it, but at the end of the year or of a marking period, he's taking a big box of stuff home to grade. I mean, grading is a drag. I have to admit, it used to be fun, but it's not any longer.
So he didn't grade the test? He didn't give the students back any grade?
He didn't give it to them, a day or 2 days or within a week. No, he's grabbing this big box of paper and taking it home. He grades them. He probably records the grade in whatever book, be that electronic or paper, and then, gives a grade to a student, but he does not return the stuff immediately. But to say that you don't ever return a test or a grade. I mean, I had that issue with a certain teacher at Maplewood Middle one year. I'm like, how do you never give back the book you told them to finish, or, their notebook, you collect that. So you never know, and it makes it very arbitrary. Where he mentions that there's this illusion. Again, you can have 100% passing rate on an AP exam, calculus, A or B, but then you've only got 8 students taking the test and 8 students in the class itself. And so when they say that they're trying to be like Melbourne or Livingston, some people might say that this is the rigor, and if it's either a sink or swim, you're part of it or you're not part of it. And they're trying to teach to the best math students. I understand that, and some people might say otherwise, it dumbs it all down.
But, most of this is...
I'm not saying I agree with that, but I could see the counter argument, and I would have to know a way to counter the counter argument. What's the word for that? It's a disparate situation. So if you're not going to get everybody on the boat, then thus you are in some way discriminating against all the others.
So you want to try to call Walter Fields?
No, I don't. Think that calling somebody, and hijacking them in the middle of the night when they're not prepared. But if you want to try to do that, it's up to you. You're going to lead that discussion. I mean, I think it's better if he knows that we're calling him, or that he was sitting here and then he was ready for that interview. Well, it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Walter would gladly come.
Let me try and see. Yeah.
So
yeah, you keep going.
You know, he also in the article or this op-ed mentions the hiring of a consultant